It's Debbie Potts doing a Sunday rabbit hole podcast exploring different topics that I'm passionate about that you might be as well. So I'd like to share my experiments with you and my journey on improving the aging process from the inside out. So I have been doing metabolism testing. It's 2025 already. I did do testing. I sound really old. New Leaf metabolic testing cart back in 2005. And then Lifetime Fitness bought the company. So all of our equipment pretty much was worthless that we used for New Leaf metabolic testing. I think 2012, somewhere around there. So we sold off the parts for equipment and can no longer test except for if I worked at Lifetime Fitness. Now I bought in 2019, I learned about PNOE metabolic testing equipment. It was portable, easy to use, wasn't the big equipment attached to a computer and that you couldn't do anywhere but a laboratory. Now, PNOE I bought in, what year is it? 25. So it's almost been 2 years this spring, year and a half ago. I got the equipment, started using it in North San Diego, and I'm focused now on actually creating a business around it and testing clients and working with practitioners and fitness studios, ideally, who care about giving a personalized program for people. I guess it's not that interesting. I think heart rate training is really powerful. I've used heart rate monitors, a chest strap since Sally Edwards. We helped her with heart zone training at the Bellevue Club back in, oh my gosh, I'm sounding really old. I've been doing this a long time. It was, gosh, 95. So I've been using heart rate monitor training for a long time. I've been doing endurance training for a very long time. I started Ironmans in 2001. I got my adrenal exhaustion, air quotes, because I don't know what metabolic chaos, 2013, stopped racing, trying to race in 2015. Gosh, now it's suddenly 2025, and I'm helping others avoid going through what I went through. I'm focusing on helping people thrive as they age, being fit and healthy from the inside out by testing and not guessing what you should do. All these other videos on YouTube, all these podcasts, all these social media posts, reels, it is an N equals one experiment. So not everyone needs to do such and such supplement, this protocol. We need to figure out what you need to do based on your area of opportunities. I love to test with functional lab tests, but that doesn't always work in people's budget. I'm on a budget. I would love to do testing every 3 months to figure out, am I doing all the right things? So test and not guess. We don't know what we don't know. But functional lab testing is amazing. Blood chemistry panel testing, but PNOE VO2 max testing is more than just your VO2 max. Maybe you don't have someone near you that does PNOE equipment. You might look up that, what Peter Attia keeps talking about, the VO2 max master. There's core. There's a bunch of different companies, the products you can do that are reliable if the person testing you understands how to interpret the data. Now, I will share my screen. I just want to share the reports that we get from PNOE. I look at people's area of opportunity and identifying what are they not doing enough of. So when I say a personalized program, that means to me, how much time, well, what are you doing for your fitness program? Let's meet the client where they are at on their journey. What are your struggles? What are your goals? What do you feel like is not working right for you? Especially if you are similar to where I was, that you are trying to do all the right things and you're not getting the results you want, especially as we age, especially as us females at perimenopause. We might need a little support from some hormone replacement or some supplements or some adaptogens. Now, we need to work on an individual basis. But when we do metabolism testing, I'd like to promote it as a way to determine your fat burning zones, your peak fat burning, and your intervals and your metabolism. So when we do your exercise report, this is called the AMR active metabolism rate. We get this big report. Now, this is based on a VO2 max protocol. I did a video or audio podcast the other day on the differences of a peak fat max metabolic crossover point test, as Bob Seymour talks about, that can help identify your zone 2 basically. When we do a VO2 max test, it's a very different protocol. So I like to start with a client doing their VO2 max test because we'll get in this report based on some calculations when you look at your raw data, what your 5 training zones are. The intervals on a test are sometimes I do 2 minutes in the beginning to get a little bit average of your heart rate and looking at the fuel source, the RER, and the breath analysis, breathing frequency, and the oxygen and carbon dioxide rate. When we do a peak fat max test, the intervals for metabolic efficiency point test are 3 to 5 minutes. We're not going to max. So I'm going to your RERs, say 0.91. Because we're just trying to identify your peak fat max. Now, really, I'll show a report of someone that they had a test. We just did their retest, so you can see the video of the fats, gold, and their purple is the carbohydrate usage. And we identified their peak fat max last year, 6 months ago, and it was down here. They were not doing a lot of cardiovascular training. Maybe it's their mitochondria. Maybe we need to work on nutrition. When we look at the report, the active report will give us clues to we have good fat burning efficiency. This is not to do with this test I did, but we're going to go through the results. And I combine this with the nutritional therapy assessment, a 5-day food and mood exercise log supplement, and get an idea of what have you been doing? What do we need to tweak? What do we just leave as is? But what do you want to do? What do you want to improve on? When we do your peak fat max test, we can be more specific and work on how to improve that metabolic efficiency point with nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress. So the VO2 max test, this is a report. You'll get all these markers. Recovery is post VO2 peak when we bring you back down. But fat burning efficiency, we don't get, it's just 1 to 2 minutes to figure out that peak fat burning, as I showed. And if I come back to this screen, this is where they're burning fat, and this is the highest point. Now, when we retest, I'll show you what happened. But this fat burning efficiency score is telling you how well your cells or your mitochondria are using fat as their main energy source. Remember, ATP is the currency. So your cells burn primarily fats and carbohydrates to release energy they contain and power your body's movements. The higher your fat burning efficiency score, the more your cells will rely on fats as a fuel source. Fat burn efficiency is also one of the most vital indicators of cellular health, your mitochondria. We measure this in the 9 to 12 minute VO2 max test protocol by calculating the crossover point, the exercise intensity in terms of VO2 max, where someone transitions from burning primarily fats to mainly carbs. The higher the intensity where this transition occurs, we call this metabolic efficiency point. Bob Seymour's book is a great resource for this. The higher the exercise intensity the transition occurs, the higher fat burning efficiency score. How do you improve it? Well, these are just suggestions. It's just a standard report, not specifically what you need to do, but this is where I work with my clients individually. Do we need to do some cold therapy? Do we need to do some stress management? So that's what I'm looking at reports. And then we look at the resting metabolism rate to see what I'm getting to. Then my time is up here, but the AMPK pathway versus mTOR, I'm looking at this as well as looking at, do you need to improve metabolism and do you need to improve your fat burn efficiency? Is your metabolic crossover point an area of opportunity that we need to work on? So with these two reports, the test of RMR and your active test, I will be looking at what we need to do. How's that correlate with AMPK and mTOR? We'll go into that in a blog on an upcoming video and how to improve that, because someone was asking me this supplement that's supposed to speed up your AMPK, and we're going to do a test with Pinoe with them taking this supplement pre-workout to see if it helps increase their metabolism. But if they need to increase their metabolism, so they're burning more calories at rest, that is different. That would be, I need to do more protein and more strength training to boost my metabolism and thyroid support often, but that's going to be more mTOR. So we want to look at AMPK activation and mTOR activation, keeping it in two. So I put in summary on an article here. We'll go through mTOR activation versus AMPK, because again, you're going to read all these different ways to support your mitochondria. We talk about cellular health with NAD supplement, AMPK pathway, mitochondria support. We want to look at the whole picture. So if you have questions of what you need to do, we don't know what you need to do unless we test. Now, lastly, I just retested this person and their fat burning efficiency after working on their AMPK pathway last 3 months has improved. Their metabolic crossover point is a little bit higher, but really they still haven't been doing a lot of zone 1 and 2 training. They do more strength work. So you're going to get what you put in. When strength training isn't necessarily improving your peak fat burning. If you're doing interval training, you might see improvement up top here. You're able to tolerate higher heart rates and work harder. Their heart rate came down super fast. So I know they've been doing their interval training correctly. So it depends on the goal. Functional lab test assessments, do we see that you need more support in your mitochondria? But is this improvement since their last test? I can't tell you because one test was on a bike, one test was on a treadmill. We can't relate that, but we're going to do a special study of supporting AMPK pathway. Do this test again, doing the metabolic efficiency point that will just train in this territory and really identify their peak fat burning with and without supplementation and see, do we see improvement in their fat burning when they support AMPK? But if that's not their area of opportunity, like I don't need to improve my fat burning. I need to improve my metabolism because I'm getting older. My estrogen hormones, testosterone are feeling pretty low. I have really low thyroid. So I need to not support fat burning. I need to support metabolism. So if you're struggling getting results with what you're doing now, let's test and not guess. And then we can work together Zoom and go over what you need to do to improve what your areas of opportunity are. Is it AMPK? Is it mitochondria? Is it mTOR? What is it? We don't know unless we dive into call and investigate deeper levels. So those are some thoughts today. Have a great rest of your day.